Good morning. In today's, we will start second unit, that is effective literature studies approaches. In this unit, we will be looking at plagiarism, research ethics, approaches of investigation of solutions for research problem, data collection, data analysis with softwares, tools, interpretation, and necessary instruments. So these are the points we'll be discussing in the second unit. So among these, today we will discuss on one of the important point in research is plagiarism. So we'll look at that point. In the previous sessions, we have seen what is research process, what are the criteria, characteristics of research problem, criteria for selection, evaluation, errors in selection, then scope of research problem choice, and then at the end we have seen the tips for finding a research problem, and we have seen various tools, various websites, softwares which will be helpful in finding out the research and research problem and identifying the research problem. So in this session we will be looking mainly on the first point, that is plagiarism. So what do you mean by plagiarism? So the official or the most dictionaries define this like the pronunciation is in some countries, some places it is used as plagiarism, and some cases it is plagiarism. So the definition is plagiarism refers to an intellectual theft using someone else's thoughts in your work without referring them or without referencing them or without giving any credit to them. You are using someone's work or someone who has presented that work, and you are using that work as if it is your own work, or you are using without their consent or without giving credit to the original author or the people, and you are not giving them any acknowledgement. So it's like taking the credit for someone else's work which goes against the rules of academia. So this is very important, plagiarism. We cannot use any other researcher's work as our own work. So plagiarism can take on a number of different forms. It may be in terms of words, concepts, ideas. It does not just consist of copying, but can also be an uncredited translation. So even if you are not using as it is uh, from the other researchers, but you are taking the idea from other researchers and presenting as if it is yours. So that is the meaning of this line. Or use of someone else's ideas without referencing the other, without giving acknowledgement, credit, or referencing that original author's ideas. And this is very important. If plagiarism is detected, there are serious consequences. We'll see this, some of the examples, such receiving a failing grade for your work. If you are a student or graduate, then you may get penalty in your uh, courses, or you may be kicked out of your program. In some of the institutes, they expel the students if it is found that they are doing plagiarism, or they have found of plagiarism, or in some cases the scholars are banned from publishing their work in that particular field. Or it is also possible that you may be being denied by the academia title if you are working for your towards your PhD, and if you are found guilty of plagiarism, then you may not be getting your degree. Aside from this, plagiarism, copyright infringement and fraud are punishable criminal offenses. So that's why this topic is very important in research methodology. So these 2 points, plagiarism and research ethics, go hand in hand. So just now we have seen definition. So the University of Oxford defines this plagiarism as that plagiarism is presenting someone's work, someone else's work or ideas as your own, with or without their consent, by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement, without if you have credited some part but not given the full credit, so that is also one kind of plagiarism. So this is definition from the University of Oxford. So all published, unpublished material, whether it is in manuscript, articles, printed, or it may be in the electronic form, is covered under this definition. So as you use the material generated wholly or in some part through some other artificial intelligence tools is also considered here. So it also includes reusing your own work without the citation. You have published some work and you are using that same work again and you are not citing that. That also comes under plagiarism. So under the rules of examinations in schools, colleges, institutes, universities, those will be considered as disciplinary offenses. Now, another Queensman University defines it as presenting someone else's work as own, irrespective of intention. Whether you are knowingly or unknowingly have considered some part or some portion from other works that you don't know whether it is someone else's work or not, but you have taken whether it is your intention or not, still it comes under plagiarism. So extensive quotations, close paraphrasing, copying from the work of another person, including another student or using the ideas of another person without proper acknowledgement, also constitutes as plagiarism. So these are all cases you are you need to take care. So as I mentioned that plagiarism involves two things, whether you are doing it intentionally or unknowingly, and then there are consequences of all these things. So that is two things which are, one is taking other people work, that it may be their concept idea or it may be results from others work, or writings, images, pictures, results, or tables, these all comes. So taking the people's work, and then second point comes, you have taken that work and presenting it as your own work without referencing them. So these two main points are there. You can take reference of those people, but you need to give reference or you need to give citations to them, or you need to give credit to them through the citations or through the references in your in your work. So whether that is your intention or not, but you need to give the credit. The last point is most significant. It is your responsibility to imagine what the reader will believe from what you have written. So this is very important. It is your responsibility to imagine what the reader will believe from you, what you are presenting. So that's why whenever you are, uh, that's why this point is taken as a first point in the literature survey, the second chapter. While doing the literature, when you are reading or analyzing the papers, articles, manuscripts, that time you need to take note of what authors have done, what work, and you accordingly while preparing or documenting your work, you need to give the credit to those authors. Now in today's world, internet is available at every fingertip and it has sent shockwaves through the world of intellectual property. So initially we have seen there were some cases in the music industry, then in all the corners of publishing, in the image and film industry also, that we cannot use even the images, videos which were put by some other person. So the development of search engines like Google and the facility available in the YouTube also has created among users an expectations of universal availability, and unknowingly or unknowingly we use them as if it is our own. So one has to give the credit to those sources also. As the technology rushes ahead, the development of new legislations and business models is still a state of flux. So this is very relevant to this plagiarism, and we have seen we are often hear in the news that some author or some poet has filed a petition against some directors that the person has used the poem or the song from his or her published work from the book or novel, and these things are comes under plagiarism. And this is very serious problem, and plagiarism is a disciplinary offense. We will see the some points what are the disciplinary, how it will affect. So for a college student or university student, you could lose all your marks, grades on your project or on your course, and even it may be possible that you will be expelled from the college or university. And for detecting whether you are doing or you are copy pasting or you are taking some others work, there are softwares like one of them is Turnitin or another is Authenticate, and there are some online tools also. So therefore it is always one has to remember that don't do the plagiarism. So to get an idea of how the technology for detecting the plagiarism works, then consider the Google search. For example, if you put substantial literature on the subject, then around 45,000 results you will get. And if you put substantial literature on the subject and early theorem, then you will get very few sources. So we'll try this. So you can see number of result searches quotation. See, 73,000 results are there. Then an early theorem. See, only one result has come. So we need to put the proper keywords while doing the literature survey also. And this is the advantage, or this is what you say technology, which generally nowadays artificial intelligence is employed in all the search engines or in the websites. So for the same search you get different result, and with some proper keywords you get few results, and from this also you can get out of the plagiarism effect. So one of the main thing, just uh, in the last 10 minutes we are talking like give the credits or references or acknowledgement to the original author. So how it is done? So that is done through the citations, and uh, it is plagiarism is avoided by giving appropriate citations. And in the LaTeX, generally any researcher or author right uses majorly two tools, like either he or she may be using Microsoft Office for documenting his or her work, or they may be using LaTeX. We will discuss this LaTeX software in detail later, but for the time being we'll see the example. Like in the LaTeX lecture, uh, we can uh, we can see bibtex files is there, and we can give simple command cite. So citing adds value to your work. It shows that you have read the literature and that you know how the results fit together. If you are using someone else's work, then you have read that article or literature, and then you are putting those ideas in your own words, and at the same time you are giving credit to that particular author or those authors. So that is nothing but the citation. Citing too much is better than citing too little. Suppose if some point, like say for example in electrical power converters, so there is a huge number of articles you will find on particular power converters, and while citing, then there is a question that to whom I should cite. There are say thousands of papers. Then we need to search, or we need to identify to those who were the pioneers or who were the first person uh, to uh, put those concepts. And then most of the things you will find out in the books, reference books. Then you can cite those 6 7 reference books. So instead of only citing one or two, you can cite those 6 7 books or 8 10 books, whatever books are there, or the papers, articles which were published at the first time regarding those subjects, regarding that particular point. Sometimes if you are in a doubt, then it is better, always better to give the citations to that particular thing. So there is no harm in citing if you have used that work, or there's some concepts from that particular book or article. Then verbatim copying. So there are different forms of plagiarism. One of them is verbatim, that is word word for word quotation without any clear acknowledgement. So copying means using the same words, word for word, as someone else. Typically, it is simply cutting and pasting. Okay. So put, say for example, if you are writing some theorems like Thevenin theorem, or if you are writing Ohm's law, then we cannot, either you can read that and write it in your own words, or if you want to use this as it is, then you put it in the form of inverted commas. So quotations must always be identified as such by the use of either quotation marks or indentions, and with full referencing for that particular source. So from some source books or articles you have taken that theorem, then you cite that particular. It must always be apparent for the reader which parts you are own, and what part you are taken as references. So these things comes under verbatim copying. To avoid plagiarism, there must always be a clear quote, either enclosing the relevant passage within the quotation marks in Word, or if you are using LaTeX, then you use the quote environment. Say, for example, uh, say Chronicler's viewpoint. As per Chronicle, God gave us the integers, the rest is the work of man. Then the same thing we can put it in LaTeX as we shall adopt Chronicler's viewpoint. Then you write slash begin quote, and you write the sentence as it is and end quote. Or if you are using word, then you put double inverted comma, and give the citations to this sentence. Then next point is paraphrasing. So paraphrasing is the work of others by altering few words and changing their order, or by closely following the structure of their argument. If can be avoided, or is plagiarism if you do not give due acknowledgement. Suppose you have read some article or some concept from other author, and then you have altered some of the words or used some of the synonyms and changed the order of those words or sentence, and followed the same structure, and you have not given the acknowledgement to that particular author, then this also falls under plagiarism. So this is known as paraphrasing. So when repeating an argument given by someone else, one must paraphrase the original text. So to avoid the plagiarism, following is required. See, first thing is we repeatedly saying citation. Since you are still taking the idea of argument from someone else, so you need to give the citations to that particular author. Substantial rewriting of the source, not merely reproducing it with slight changes. Don't do only change in synonyms of one or two words. You need to put that concept in your own words. You should read the argument, then close the book or article and try to reproduce the argument in your own words. That's what we are talking, that as it is we cannot use, or you cannot just simply use or change the couple of words and write the sentence as it is. So you should understand the sentence and then write it in your own words, which will be having same meaning, and at the same time you are giving the citations to that particular work. So paraphrasing can be tricky. Example, if in a difficult proof, take advice from your supervisors or seniors, because in some cases you may be find difficult how to do the paraphrasing. Say a passing reference to original author in your own text may not be enough. In some cases you must ensure that you do not create the misleading impression while doing the paraphrasing. So it is better to write a summary of author's overall argument in your own words, then and indicating that you are doing so, then to paraphrase particular sections of the researcher's work, and you will ensure that you have genuine grasp of the argument, and then you avoid difficulty of paraphrasing without entering into plagiarism. And once you have completed your work, then or document, you can pass it through the tools which are available to check the plagiarism. See here examples of how it is written, paraphrasing examples. Say one theorem is given in one of the article, and it is referenced as number reference 13, and we can write it in our document as our proof is essentially that given in square bracket 13, and then you can write that statement or argument, let A be the state space or space vector, or in other words you can write like this also, as in at 14 is the original source from where you are taking the reference, we begin our proof by, and so on. Or another method is, the steps in the proof of theorem 3.6 are as follows. For more details, see 12 theorem 2. So see the reference 12 in our references, and from this reference article or book document you can refer the reference theorem 2, from where we have taken the reference for the proof of this 3.6 theorem. And this can be written in LaTeX like, for more details cite theorem and give the label of that particular reference. So we'll see this example of this LaTeX actually. So for example, if this is your article and abstract and then introduction. So in the introduction you can see that the theory of piecewise analysis dynamics of various types of systems has attached interest of many researchers, and such systems arise in power electronics and drives. And from here we have taken this is taken from one of the author named say, and this article title is flip bifurcation and chaos in three-state boost switching regulators. Also we have taken reference from the Aultin, and the title is piecewise linear map for studying border collision phenomenon in AC/DC converters. So like this, number of articles were cited. One of the point was there that citing too many is not bad, but citing too less is not good thing. If you have taken help of some of the articles, books, then you need to cite that particular, and the command used is /cite, and here these labels are actually saved in the bibtex files. So here is the bibtex file. Say for example, if I want to reference this book, one book, and we can find it that how to cite from the Google Scholar website also, and we have seen the use of Google Scholar in the previous lecture. Suppose one of the article is there, our book is there, and you want to cite this. So one, you can search that on the Google Scholar and then go to this cite option, and readily if you are using Word or uh, Office tools, then you can directly copy paste from this. And there are different formats of citing. So MLA format, APA format, Chicago, Harvard, Vancouver, IEEE format, different formats are there. And if you are using any tools, EndNote, Reference Man, Reference Works, these are add-ins you can use in uh, Word, Office, or LaTeX. So mostly this bibtex file is used as referencing purpose in the LaTeX software. So you can simply copy this and then you paste, and that file you need to save it as bib file .bib, that means bibtex file. So you can see here this is a book and this is a label, so that while writing the manuscript we should if I want to refer this, or if I want to cite this, then I can simply use this label, or I can use only like Bernardo, and then all the details of that particular book is mentioned: title, authors, volume, year, then publisher, and all these comes in your reference section. We can see here at the end of this article, after conclusion. See here, first one is where in our article say was the first reference. So you can see say CK, and that article name is there, publisher is given, then volume and volume number, page numbers and year, all these are given. Similarly, for all other, suppose if you are using some article instead of book, that thing also can be referenced. Suppose if I want to use this article, then I simply click on this, take this, copy and paste in the bibtex file, and this is the label. So I will use this label, save this, and I will use this label in this article. Say for example, power electronics and drives, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So first 5 references are been cited here, so I will add another one here, that is the article just now we have copied from this, a compendium of hop-like bifurcation in piecewise dynamical systems. So I pasted that and then I save and I run it. Now you will see the changes in the numbers, and you can see that reference in the reference section also. there is some issue with this tool now. We'll see this in some time. And you can see how this paraphrasing is done, or here also you can see the paraphrasing in the article. Like, say for example, biosciences topics were given in the references 6 to 9. Finance related topics are given in the 10 to 11, 10, 11, 12, 13 references. Then fast slow systems are given in the reference 14. Similarly, the author is discussing about the period incrementing like this, and he has paraphrased like the map is characterized by attracting cycles of various periods organized in different families of period structures 15. Then a new 1D formed by combining logistic and trend maps behaved as piecewise 1D map, which is characterized by Lyapunov exponent bifurcation diagrams in 21. So like this, you can do the paraphrasing, or you can take any other papers on the internet available or on the IEEE, Elsewhere or Springer websites. We'll see such kind of paraphrasing is given, and it is also cited. So before proceeding, we'll see a short video.
Have your instructors had the talk with you about plagiarism? About how it is wrong and shouldn't do it? You may have questions. What is it exactly? And how will you know if you're committing plagiarism or not? This video will help answer these questions. What is plagiarism? What are some common types of plagiarism? How can I avoid plagiarism? Plagiarism is the act of taking another person's work and using it as your own. This includes using the words or ideas of another person as if they were your own words or ideas. Can words and ideas really be stolen? Yes, because words and ideas are intellectual property. And just like a writer, artist, or inventor, the original author stands to benefit from his creation. So how are you supposed to do research if using other people's words or ideas is stealing? No worries. As long as you give the original author credit for his or her work, you are not plagiarizing. The way you give an author credit is by using citations. You must cite anything quote, paraphrase, summarize, or refer to in your paper. When you quote a passage, word for word, you must use quotation marks around the phrases that are not your own. You must also provide.
See here that the theft of digital property over an internet connection is easier and quicker than doing so from a retail establishment. This is written originally by this author Samir Hinduja, and Music Piracy and Crime Theory in this work, and the same work is used by some other person, and how he is using, he has given double inverted comma, and he has used the same lines. That means he has given the quotations and then used the author or given the credit to that particular author, Hinduja, comma 2006, page number 6.
Author's name, here, and page number. There are multiple ways to incorporate this information in a quote, using signal phrases such as according to or the author.
So while doing the paraphrasing, you can use like this: according to Hinduja 2006, and then write this his quote as it is.
That can help you transition from quotes to your own words easily. What if you rewrite the author's passage in your own words?
So paraphrasing is rewriting in your own words.
Even though it is written in your words, it is still the author's idea, and you must give them credit. If you're having trouble with paraphrasing, read the passage you want to use, then try to write the ideas in your own words without looking at the passage.
So paraphrasing is like, this is the original statements. Einstein's physics career had a rock start. So how this is paraphrased? Einstein had a difficult time early in his career as a physicist. So same meaning is there but in different words. He completed his formal training in 1900, but in spite of great academic accomplishment, he left a universal bad impression on his professors. He achieved highly in school, but his professors disliked him and did not give him assistance in finding an academic job. And this one line is leading by these three lines. For that reason, Einstein was unable to obtain the references and other support needed to obtain an entry-level university appointment. So this paragraph has been rewritten in our own words like this.
Compare what you wrote to the original source to make sure you change the wording and grammar enough. Any words or phrases that you didn't change should be marked with quotation marks.
So if you are using some same words, then use double quotation always, and then write the statement and also give the citations to that particular work.
Be careful as you write. Even if you accidentally use someone else's work, it is still considered plagiarism, and the consequences can be severe. Now, let's focus on some of the most common forms of plagiarism. Cloning. If you submit another person's work word for word as your own, this is the most severe form of plagiarism, and unfortunately, one of the most common. Copy paste. If you copy large sections of another person's work, or from multiple sources, make a few minor changes, and fail to cite the source. Electronic resources such as ebooks, article databases, and websites make it very tempting and easy to copy material. Self-plagiarize. If you recycle a paper you wrote from a previous class, making little or no changes to the original, and fail to cite yourself. Many students accept that this practice is wrong, but don't realize that it is also considered plagiarism. Aggregate. If you cite all your sources properly, but there is little or no original material from you, the amount of citations allowed will vary based on your assignment. For example, it makes sense that a literature review would contain more cited material than an essay. If you have questions, ask your instructor. So, how can you avoid plagiarism? While doing research, save your citations as you go. Many library databases make it easy to save or export citations for later use. As you are taking notes, use the system to differentiate between the author's words and your own. Use a highlighter to color code your notes, or use new words to keep your sources organized. Stay organized and keep track of where you find different pieces of information. If you can't remember, it is safer to leave those details out of your paper. When possible, print out or photocopy the source and take notes directly on it. Now, you should be able to answer these questions. What is plagiarism? What are some common types of plagiarism? How can I avoid plagiarism? Good luck on your papers.
So we have seen that while preparing that video also the video maker has taken some help from some of the resources and he has cited those as a citations or references. Now we'll see appropriateness of ideas. If your result is original but the argument you use is very similar to someone's or something that has been done before on a related topic or on a related theorem, you must still give the attributions, for otherwise you could be committing plagiarism. For example, using the ideas of Pullabus proved of. So you are using the attributes like this. Following the Pullabus 3. So it is the reference number may be 3. So therefore it is given in square bracket 3. And in some cases common knowledge is also having not clear reference because it is everyone is knowing that sun rises or sunsets, these things are not mentioned or anywhere. So you must still make it clear that it is not your own idea using expressions such as it is well known that or the following result is folklore. So make sure that the lack of reference is not a consequence of your lack of familiarity with the literature. So it indicates that literature, you have not done the proper literature survey. If someone proved this result and you are not giving credit, then you are likely to annoying that person. So these things we need to take care while writing. It is well known that the following result is folklore, or it is generally understood, or it is commonly given in the books. Like this, these statements you can or expressions can be used. However, if you are not being dishonest, so while you could be penalized for poor practice, it would not be plagiarism. So for that purpose, bibliography study or literature survey is very important, and research papers often begin with a vast bibliography, citing all the works that form the background and motivation of the document. So one example is given here. Discrete space versions of symplectic maps first appeared in the study of numerical orbits, and these articles or these work has been given numbers in the reference section as like 22, 11, 27, 9, 18 to mimic quantum effects in classical systems and to improve the efficiency of delicate computations, that is given in 12. So similar example just also we have seen here. You can see the theory of piecewise smooth map to analyze the nonlinear dynamics of various types of systems has attracted the interest of many researchers. Such systems arise in power electronic and drives. So those references are 1 to 5. Okay, go to reference section. You can see here these are related to power electronics and drives. So three-state boost regulators, this bifurcating chaos, first reference. Second reference, piecewise linear map for studying border collision phenomenon AC-DC converters. Third one is related to DC-DC boost converter, chaotic and subharmonic oscillations. Fourth one is non-observable chaos in uh, piecewise smooth systems. Then fifth one is bifurcation surfaces, multi-stability analysis, state feedback control of PMSM motor. So that means a drive. So like this, we can say that number of articles were published already, and those were referencing in group, and all those five numbers have been given here 1 to 5. Then biosciences, and again some references are given 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you go there, those are related to biosciences. For example, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see here the authors are Carvalho, Cristiano, Rodriguez, and Tono. Analysis of piecewise smooth epidemiological model of COVID-19. Then chaos and bifurcation phenomenon, impulsive model of non-basal testosterone regulations. Then another is experimental observation of transition from chaotic bursting to chaotic spiking in neural pacemakers, and then 9. So these four references are related with that bioscience topic, and those are given citation in the main manuscript like 6-9. So this numbering is different depending on the journal or article and their templates. So in some cases you will find 1 to 5, or in some cases you will find commas just like here it is given 22, 11, like this also it is given 10 to 13, or only single article is there, so you can give like 14, whatever articles are there. And LaTeX it is given by given written by giving /cite command, just we have seen. So each argument of cite requires a matching entry that is either in bib item or in the bibliography. So, and generally it includes author names, title of the article, journal name. In some journals it is given in italic or slanted. Then volume number in the boldface and year of publication, page range. And for the books, author, title, publisher, city of publisher, year of publication. So this is the general structure of any article. If you see uh, IEEE papers, so in IEEE paper, you can see the citation. Suppose number of group references are there, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it is given like this, 8 to 13. And in this Springer one, it is given like this, 8-13 or 1-5. Then the reference section, you can see here. This is the book, author, italic, the title, book title in italics, you can see in italic, and then publisher, Princeton, NJ, USA. City of publisher is also given, NJ, USA, and year of publication, that is 2018. And if it is an article, then author names, see author names, then title and journal's name in italic. So this is the title, and then this is the uh, publisher in italic, then year of publication, page range, year of publication, page range. You can see any other article also. So authors, title, publisher in italics, volume, page, volume number, page numbers, and year. So this is the general structure of any article or book. So which one has to use in the bibliography. And for articles, you can simply use the bib item command, or directly you can copy the bib text from the Google Scholar. For books, this is given in the form. So in project, you are likely to be using standard material from, say, textbook. To incorporate such material in a single citation, use expressions like, for background material, C4. So this 4 is the particular reference number of that book, or all theorems quoted below belong to standard ultrametric analysis, C21. So 21 is that particular reference. Or for specific results, one may then employ citations like theorem A. So this is the fourth number site reference, and from the fourth number you can refer theorem 4.2. Or we now state Hensel's lemma. So his reference is given as reference number 21, and from that reference, chapter number 3 we are used. You can also cite the paper which is not yet published. Say in the previous session we have seen arxiv.com, where unpublished work are can be submitted. So most mathematics or physics papers are uploaded on the arxiv database, and prior to publication, this is given, and the regularity of the linear drift in regular negativity curve space is given. Say, and in the LaTeX form you can give as a bib item. And before citing that ARXIV source, one has to make sure that paper has not yet been published, or you can continuously go on checking, and if it is published, then you can update your bib item, or you can update your bibliography, and you can put the site of the published version. Then citing internet sources is little bit complicated. So generally it is practice that avoid the citing of internet sources, and it should be lesser, or it should be authenticated. Suppose if you have taken some data from uh, real-time data from some of the utilities, then you can put the website of that particular utility, and at the same time you need to give the URL on which date you have used that particular data. So this is very important, URL and the date, if you are using the, or if you are citing an internet source. In published academic articles, Wikipedia is never used. So don't use Wikipedia as a reference in your bibliography section. In a project, this is barely tolerated, but it won't look good. So, and then instead of Wikipedia, you can use the reference section of the Wikipedia. Say, for example, say here, I have searched one point like say plagiarism. So instead of using this reference as a reference, this Wikipedia, you can use the reference section of this Wikipedia, and then you can cite this. Say, for example, from 1995, this book or this article, or this is again another Wikipedia link. Here it is there. So comparative analysis of institutional policy, definition of plagiarism. This is one article, and this can be found here. Here. And then you can cite this article. So cite this article. Generally, any website or any publisher gives their own options, or you can simply copy this and go to Google Scholar, paste it, and do the take out the citations. Either if you are using words or if you are using LaTeX. So see here, article, this is the label, title, author, journal, volume, number, pages, year, publisher. Everything is given. So this is the best practice. So don't use the Wikipedia. Images and other media are also, if you are using in your own work, like you must not take any other people's images or video clips or some images from the websites. So without explicit or written permission from that particular author or publisher or the person who has uploaded. In addition, the source must be cited. In most cases, using someone else's image is not only plagiarism, but it is also illegal too. So that person may file case against you. In almost all cases, you should create your own diagrams. If you are drawing some block diagrams or circuit diagrams, it is always good practice or best to create your own diagrams or represent them in your own thoughts. So to cite or not to cite, cite all the relevant references. Wherever if you think that it is important, so it is always better to cite them. If you cite a paper, you must read it. Don't just cite for the increasing the references. You must have read that, and then from that reading you have come to conclusions that it is related to that particular one topic, and therefore you are citing it. Do not copy paste a reference from another paper. So sometimes we find that this article is there and we just simply copy paste this. Whether you have used these articles or not, this is not good practice. So it is always better to go to that particular article, read the at least introduction part, abstract introduction section, and then conclusion section. Again, copy pasting also incorporates some of the typos or errors. There may be creation of some commas or some characters which may not be uh, looking good at in your references. If you are in a doubt, then give a citations to that particular work. If still in doubt, double check with your supervisor that whether to cite this article or book, and then take the decision. So you can read more information about plagiarism on this particular website, and it is given uh, very good information. You can simply copy paste that and you can go through the reading. Sorry, I will paste that link in your Moodle. Now, before ending this session, I would like to again repeat that don't plagiarize, and couple of websites you can go and do the self assessment, like plagiarism self assessment, and you can click on begin, and you read some of the questions here, and then you can check how much you are aware. So there are some questions here, and at the end there is a submit option. So we'll try to discuss these points in the next session, and then we will discuss how we can avoid, or what are the tools, then some of the examples, and we'll also see some consequences. What are the consequences of doing plagiarism? Some few examples are there, you can see here, you can read. In earlier we talked about student or the scholars may get uh, less grades or penalty in the grades, or the student may get expelled from the university. There are newses not only in the research, it is everywhere. So you can see Daily News fires editor after Sean King accused of plagiarism, and this news is from 2016. So the editor of a news has been fired due to he is found accused of plagiarism, and this plagiarism may be of others, works of others. You can see fired one of its editors for removing attributions from columns by writers, which made it appear as though King had plagiarized the works of others. So these mistakes are unacceptable, and the editor of in question has been fired. Another news is also there. Polish professor could face 3 year sentence for plagiarism. So at Catholic University of Lublin, Southeast Poland, could face up to 3 years in prison after prosecutors launched an investigation into alleged plagiarism. So these are all different cases, or consequences of doing plagiarism. So one has to avoid this. So some more points we will in the which is how much plagiarism is. Those things we will discuss in the next session. So we'll stop. I will paste that link, and you can go through those links in the Moodle. Thank you.